Hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Valencia, and I'm a plant-based nutritionist. I've struggled with chronic inflammation for most of my life, so last year I decided enough is enough, and I studied nutrition. But I've been making some bad decisions for the past 2 weeks, so my eczema is very inflamed, and I can also feel it in my gut. So I want to show you guys this really quick, really easy anti-inflammatory meal that I usually make when I'm having problems. Yeah, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we're going to start with is our purple cabbage. This is the star of the show, in my opinion, because I love sauteed purple cabbage. So I like to take off the outside layers just because they usually have a lot of dirt. And then I'm only going to use about half of the cabbage for this recipe. And even with half of the cabbage, you'll get 2 servings. So if it's you and a partner, or if you want to have it for the next day, you can have it as well. And I like to chop it up pretty small because the other ingredients will be beans and quinoa. And I want everything to be sort of similar in size. So once I have that chopped up, we're going to transfer that to a bowl. And then we're going to just wash that off, remove any dirt or little bugs that might be inside of the cabbage. So yeah, just give it a nice little wash and transfer that to a bowl. And now we're going to wash our beans and our chickpeas. I am using canned chickpeas and beans. I would recommend using dry, soaking them overnight and then using them because it will be fresher and have more nutrients. But I'm just using what I have at the moment. So once those are nice and clean, I'm going to put those to the side. And now we're going to wash our quinoa. I'm using 1 cup of quinoa for this recipe. And like I said, a little goes a long way. So 1 cup will be enough for 2 people. And then just washing off my jalapeno. Now we're going to chop our garlic. This is the garlic that we're going to use to saute with our purple cabbage and the pepper. So I like to smash them down. That makes it easier to chop. And then I just cut the little booties off because they can be a little harsh when you're cooking with them. Smash them down again, and then I'm just going to chop them very small. And I'm going to do one more just because I want a good amount to pair with the cabbage. Transfer that to a little baby bowl, and then we can start with our pepper. Give that a nice little chop. Again, everything is going to be similar in size. And now we have all of our ingredients, so we can start with our dressing. I'm using a plant-based yogurt for the base, and then some lime juice. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of honey for sweetness. I use 2 tablespoons of honey. And then I'm gonna use 1 tablespoon of mustard just for like a little bit of like a tangy vibe to the dressing. And then I'm just going to add some salt and pepper to taste. And I'm gonna add the pepper to this little bowl and then just squeeze a little lime juice in there so I can get it into the little bottle. And then just shake it all up, shake it nice and good. And I'm gonna put this in the fridge and let it chill while we cook. Okay, so on to the chickpeas. I'm gonna roast the chickpeas just because I like a crunchy chickpea. So I'm just going to add in some oil, some salt and pepper. If you wanted to season this more with onion powder, garlic powder, whatever you like, you could definitely do that. So then I just spread those on a baking sheet with aluminum foil. And I will preheat my oven to about 350 degrees. And we're going to let these cook for about 30 minutes. About halfway through, I will pull them out and just like give them a little shake and sort of turn them over so both sides can get brown. Okay, and on to the quinoa. I'm going to add in about 2 cups of water. If you have vegetable broth, it'll make it taste even better, but I'm just using what I have. So I have 2 cups of water and then 1 cup of quinoa. And you're going to let that boil. And once it boils, you're going to turn the temperature down and let it cook for about 15 minutes. Okay, and now let's saute that cabbage. I like to add the cabbage in by itself first because it takes a little while to cook. So after about, I would say 5 minutes, it's getting a lot softer and it's cooking down. So then I would add in the jalapeno just because it'll cook a lot faster than the cabbage. So I put those in together and then I season with onion powder, some salt, some pepper, whatever you like for your seasonings really, but I kept things very simple for this recipe. So adding in my seasonings, giving that a nice little stir, and then I'm gonna add in a little more seasoning. And I'm gonna let those two cook down together for a few more minutes, checking on the quinoa. It looks good, so I'm going to turn off the heat. Once the quinoa is done cooking, you're going to transfer it to a cool eye and let it sit for 15 minutes. Now I'm going to add in the garlic to the sauteed cabbage and pepper. I have a habit of burning my garlic, so I add it in at the very last minute. And we're going to just heat up the beans really quickly. So our quinoa has been sitting for 15 minutes, so now I'm going to take a fork and just give it a nice little fluff, and then it'll be all done and ready. And now everything is done. So this is what the recipe is going to look like. Very simple. I added in some sesame seeds on top and then topped it with that dressing for a little bit more flavor. But yeah, this is the perfect meal for if you're struggling with inflammation, any gut problems, anything like that. Okay, let's try this. The cabbage is always my favorite part. And I love, talking about my mouth full. I love roasted chickpeas because it gives it like a nice little crunch. And the dressing on top is perfect too. It just ties everything together. Okay, so I'm gonna finish this. I hope you guys try this recipe out too. It's super easy. You can pair anything with it, like anything you have in your fridge. I use garlic and jalapenos to saute with the purple cabbage, but I've also used sauteed onion and mushroom as well. So it doesn't even take a lot of money to make this, and it's super healthy, super delicious. So I hope you guys try it. Okay, bye.